Imagine a fortress where conversation travels only through recording devices, a place so secret Italian news anchors whisper about its corridors. Welcome to 41 BIS, the hard regime that locks Italy's most dangerous mafia bosses and terrorists in cells smaller than a parking space for 22 hours every day. As of 2022, just 728 humans live under these rules, yet they cost the state a fortune and truly terrify organized crime. Today, we'll step inside Italy's secret mafia prison, where life is a relentless battle against the mind itself. Walls that speak in silence. Think back to the early 70s when kidnappings rattled Turin and gunmen from the Red Brigades stalked Rome. With jails already heaving, lawmakers in July 1975 signed Article 41 bis into law, giving the justice minister power to suspend normal prison rules whenever the state felt threatened. It was intended as a quick emergency brake, but the fuse kept burning. Everything changed on a Sicilian highway on 23 May 1992, when a half-ton bomb killed Judge Giovanni Falcone, his wife, and 3 bodyguards. 1,700 pounds of explosive lit the asphalt and the public mood. Within 10 weeks, Parliament hardened 41 bis from a temporary stopgap into a standing battering ram aimed squarely at Cosa Nostra leadership. Helicopters airlifted 400 convicted bosses to newly fortified wings. Steel doors slammed shut on an invisible civil war. Italy's prison department lists 728 inmates under 41 bis as of 31 October 2022, down slightly from 749 in 2021, but still more than double the figure 2 decades earlier. Fewer than 6% are women, and every name on the roll has either commanded a mafia clan, trafficked narcotics worldwide, or plotted terror attacks that shook television sets from Milan to Palermo. These men and women are scattered with surgical care. 12 prisons, among them Lacchia in Abruzzo, Opera on the outskirts of Milan, Bancali in Sardinia, and the mountain fortress at Spoleto, host purpose-built wings where guards carry mirrored shields. Cameras stream footage to Rome, and locks record every thumbprint completely. Distance makes rescue utterly impossible. Over each entrance, sonar sensors in the floor alert guards if anyone keeps still for too long, an antidote to secret digging. Concrete mixed with quartz chips resists tunneling, a touch suggested after the 1993 bombing campaign. Yet statistics do not capture the truly chill that freezes a corridor when an inmate steps out for the permitted 60 minutes of air. To understand that engineered isolation, you need to see the bricks themselves, and this is where we open the cell door. Designing isolation. Walk with me through Lacchia's high-altitude compound, perched 721 meters above sea level on the edge of the Apennines. The air feels alpine, yet the smell inside is recycled steel. Each 41 bis wing is a narrow spine of cells no bigger than 1.5 by 2.5 meters, roughly the footprint of a city elevator, and prisoners stay in that rectangle for 22 hours every single day. Viterbo tried a slightly roomier model at 10 square meters, but the furniture is welded to the floor. Cells contain a stainless steel toilet, a wall-mounted sink, a slatted steel bunk, and a 90-minute-a-week hot water allowance timed by an external switch. The doors work like bank vaults. First, a grilled gate rattles open, then a solid slab swings out, then a floor sensor confirms weight and motion. Food slides through a hatch. Spoons are the only utensils. Above every threshold, full-color cameras beam footage to a control room where guards rotate lenses, zoom in on handwritten notes, and record sound for the archives. These feeds are mirrored live in Rome, so any disturbance appears on the minister's screen within seconds. Architecture becomes policy. Corridors kink at 45 degrees so inmates never glimpse one another. Exercise yards are divided into 4 pie-shaped wedges, forcing prisoners to pace alone under mesh roofs while staffers on catwalks listen for code words. Concrete is laced with polymer fibers that dull acoustic drilling. If a bulb burns out, the inmate must wave at the lens until someone answers. Every light fixture is tamper-proof. Hinges use reverse screws, accessible only from the guard side. Geography matters too. Bancali Prison squats on windswept coastal flatland near Sassari, where bad weather grounds helicopters. Opera sits behind Milan's freight rail yard, making approach by vehicle conspicuous. Tolmezzo hides high in Friuli's Carnic Alps, reachable only by one switchback road. And yet, despite these walls, Mafia clans once exchanged orders through coded greetings. Breaking the chain. A Mafia empire lives on information. Before 41 BIS, bosses wrote orders on Pizzini, tiny papers slipped out with laundry. Today, that trick dies at the door. Letters are photocopied and translated, then the originals are shredded before the prisoner ever sees them. Censors can take 15 days to clear a single birthday card, turning anniversaries into distant rumors for loved ones. Phone calls? Completely banned. Visits? 1 hour a month, no physical contact, voices carried through phones behind shatterproof glass while guards read lips in real time. Even family photos are contraband because a coded wink can reignite a cocaine route. Under 41 BIS, a prisoner cannot even choose pizza toppings. Meals arrive pre-portioned from a central kitchen. If money is smuggled in, the governor confiscates anything above a few euros. Radios play only state-approved frequencies, and speaker grills are sonic tested each week for hidden transmitters. The regime works. Wiretaps captured regional bosses complaining that diabolic Matteo Messina Denaro went silent the moment he entered Lachia in 2023. Prosecutors credit 41 BIS with decapitating entire chains of command, especially after 400 leaders were flown out of Palermo in 1992 and sealed off on island prisons like Pianosa and Asinara. Yet silence carries a price. In 2002, 300 incarcerated mafiosi coordinated a nationwide hunger strike despite the isolation, banging cutlery until the din rolled across 8 prisons. Engineers later baffled vents to stop Morse-like taps. 2 decades on, anarchist Alfredo Cospito revived that tactic alone, refusing food for 115 days to protest his transfer to Bancali. Headlines circled the globe, and riot police ringed Italian embassies abroad. So communication was strangled, yet life inside kept beating, minute after controlled minute. What does an actual day feel like when 22 hours pass in the same echoing rectangle? Dawn arrives not with sunlight, but with fluorescent tubes that snap on at 7 sharp, a shrill buzzer following a second later. Matteo Messina Denaro, once called the most wanted man in Europe, woke up to that artificial dawn during his last months in Lachia before dying of cancer in September 2023. He had 20 minutes to wash before a guard recorded the water meter. Breakfast? 2 dry biscuits and tepid coffee, calories set by a dietitian in Rome. A nurse carefully drew blood weekly, checking glucose levels through the cell door grill. For the next 11 hours, Denaro sat in a chair bolted to the floor, writing in a legal pad of coarse paper that smudges ink, reducing hidden messages. Walls are pale green, a color psychologists say blunts aggression. A ceiling camera records in infrared, so the lens never blinks. At noon, lunch arrives through the slot. Pasta in a plastic bowl. The prisoner uses a short spoon that cannot reach the jugular vein. At 1300, iron bars click and the inmate walks 50 steps to a concrete pen open to the sky. The yard is 9 meters long, topped by chain link and razor wire. Guards time the hour with stopwatches. If rain falls, exercise still happens, but umbrellas remain forbidden. Denaro often paced figure eights, speaking only to himself because adjacent yards are muted by white noise speakers added after the 2002 strike. Back inside, a single TV offers 6 channels on delay, so live news cannot reveal real-time deaths or births. Mail is slid into a plexiglass folder after sensors check for microdots. Showers come Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 10 minutes. The hot water valve is controlled externally. At 21:30, the lights dim to half brightness yet never switch off. Salvatore Rina once complained the glow made it impossible to dream. This routine erodes hierarchy faster than gunfire, but it also breeds desperate creativity. While prisoners pace in silence, the outside world argues loudly. In 2007, the European Court of Human Rights ruled that parts of 41 bis breached Articles 6 and 8 of the Convention, citing censored correspondence and families kept at an arm's length. Amnesty International had already warned in 2003 that the regime risked becoming cruel and inhumane, language that still haunts Italian diplomats during Geneva hearings. Activists also cite the Sestaro decision demanding oversight of isolation orders. Civil rights lawyers point to numbers. 749 people were on the list as recently as 2021, yet only 13 were women and 4 were terrorists. Evidence, they say, that the regime is aimed almost exclusively at Mafia suspects, even when proof of ongoing command is thin. Parliamentarians from Sicily defend the policy, noting that the murder rate in Corleone province fell by 80% between 1993 and 2000 once communication pipelines snapped. Those figures are real, but so are the scars. The debate reignited when anarchist Alfredo Cospito refused food for 115 days, his weight dropping by 45 kilograms as supporters marched through Rome with banners reading 41 bis e tortura. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni stayed firm, telling reporters that the state does not negotiate with extremists. Yet behind closed doors, the Justice Ministry quietly asked architects whether exercise yards could be doubled in size without sacrificing security, a hint that optics matter even here. So, what's your take on the 41 bis regime? Too harsh or absolutely necessary? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more intense stories like this one.